all's well in the world. So our country becomes 250 years old this 4th of July. So we're jumping the gun a little bit. But will we last? And it's a great on-air topic. And it's really turned into a lot of really interesting comments. But at 303-696-1971, you can, this is really a bunch of text messaging again today. First one, our collapsing monetary system will be the decider, all right? Peter, Ed Koch was sworn in, and I mentioned the new mayor was sworn in on Quran. Ed Koch was sworn in as New York City's mayor with his mother's Hebrew Bible. You okay with that? You get sworn in on a comic book as far as I'm concerned. You do what you want. Will America survive? There's a really lengthy one, and it gets down to, let's see, somebody said it's mentioned something about Tina Peters, and now we get down to the election was stolen, and it ends with, be sure, Peter, there was no election fraud or evidence of it. Yeah, like putting me down. Keep telling yourself that. With guys like you, with all this evidence that you and others have, I'm surprised Rupert Murdoch didn't come to you and save himself about $800 million. Pete, listening to you and a professor discuss history, we read that one already. Did both of you just say about No, we did not say that. Leave it to TDS Tony to work Trump in any topic, including one centering on 250 years of the future. So predictable. America must bring freedom to Venezuela. Wishing for Tina Peters' death, a caller called and said that because you disagree with her motives is disgusting. The Dark Ages return. All right, 303-696-1971. We have open lines, and then we're going to have Keith Ball with us and his book, Terry the Tramp, The Life and Dangerous Times of a One Percenter, a Biker. All right, so here we go. Hey, Stephen, thank you for calling the show. Good morning, and welcome to a new year.
Happy New Year, Peter.
Thank you, brother.
You're the smartest man on KNUS without question.
No, don't say that, but thank you.
So there's, I think going forward, there's two chunks of, let's say, pre-World War II and then post-World War II.
Fair enough.
The first chunk will be how are we going to relate in the world? You know, after World War II, it was or during the war, it was important to have coalitions, to work with people, you know, to have the great European strength and all of that. Are we going to continue in that vein, or are we going to be more solo actors?
What do you think? What do you think?
I think it's going to move strongly to being more of a solo actor, because I think both the right and the left realize that we have diminishing resources in this country, and we can't spend abroad, whether it's a right view or left view. That's my thought.
When you have,
go ahead.
When this is what happened in the 18th century, 20th century, when nation states found they didn't have the material, they went into the third world and stole it, and that's colonialism, which leads to, you know, so many horrible things that happen. But it's true. You know, if you don't have oil, where do you go? You go get it from them. Where is them? Well, them, you have a choice to either put your guys on the throne so you can do business with them, or do business with despots. That's the history of the oil business, not in this country, but abroad. So now what do you do? And all these things are diminished. And that's the Roman Empire model as well. So the question, I know why it's angered people, I don't know, but it has. Will we be here in 100 years? Forget 250, 100, Stephen. What do you think?
Oh, I think we will, but it'll look totally different. Let me give you the other chunk.
Okay.
The other chunk is Roosevelt, who you love, I love.
Yeah.
He used an expansionist government because we had a crisis. You know, we can go on and on. Everything about the National Relief Act, National Labor Act, all these things. Now, are we going to continue that? Or are we just going to be, get rid of all of those things? And, Mandami, he won. Yes, it's New York, but he still won.
Oh, yeah.
There's a very fine line between, on one hand, providing universal health care to everybody, like I'm on Medicare, versus guaranteeing somebody a right. So I think those two chunks, the international and then the internal, set piece, are going to determine it. But I think it's going to look totally different over time.
What will it be called another name? Will the country be called another name?
No, I think it'll be called the same. I've lived and worked and practiced civil rights law in Alabama, and I've also done it in D.C. for labor unions. And this country's very different. You land in Alabama, you land in New York. I mean, goodness gracious. So you've got two, and I've got a big day coming up in February, and I'm sending you and Billy a written invitation.
The likelihood, and I wrote this down too, the likelihood that our country will be here. It's a better one than a prediction, but a likelihood. In 100 years, the United States of America, what will it look like? Can you give me a picture of what it will look like?
I think we'll still have 50 states, but how we view the world is going to be dramatically different than it was, let's say, in 1948.
All right.
And how we allocate government programs and everything are going to be totally different than they were between 1932 and 1968. We're looking at dramatic changes.
But here's a really weird question that I've bounced off people the last month. The people that call the shots in your life, the big issues, do you know their names?
I think for my life, because my life's not that important. For the big global issues, of course not. I don't. And then here again, if you on some of these issues, Peter, people on the right and people, in Bernie Sanders' book, which I've read, are not that different. Meaning, you have a select group that controls the media today. That's changed dramatically. You'd know this better than anybody. You have a select group that control the markets. So I would say no, because very few control much.
But when Donald Trump won, when he defeated Kamala, the second biggest loser after the Democratic Party was the traditional media, the television networks, the newspapers. They took a huge hit. And if you just look at local Nielsen's on the local television stations or circulation numbers on the newspapers or those things, they're gone. I mean, and radio is going with them. And
small towns throughout this country have lost newspapers.
Oh yeah.
Big cities have diminished newspapers.
Yeah.
Radio stations, everything is being consolidated. That's why the whole conglomerate word is not overused. You look at the people that control that, all these things that we think are separate, like General Motors, Ford, whatever. That other entities have larger stakes in them.
Oh, listen. Remember there were two Charlie Wilsons. One was called Engine Charlie, and the other was called Electric Charlie. Electric Charlie ran General Electric. Engine Charlie ran General Motors. And that pickup, I don't know if you were old enough to remember Al Cap and Little Abner, but they had a General Bull Moose was this character. He was them. He was the Engine Charlie, Electric Charlie. And that great line, what's good for General Motors is good for the USA. And Charlie Wilson said that. And Engine Charlie, they knew they were really the beginnings of the military-industrial complex. These are interesting characters. Very few people know who they are, who they were, but they did it. So when nations fail, it's an argument. The prosperity or poverty is the determinant. It's the political and economic institutions. It's not geography or culture. The losses, if you read history, the institutions that concentration of power in the hands of a few, you pointed that out, they lead to failure. And
exactly.
And yet people have rejected network television. They have rejected the newspapers. They are in the process of rejecting talk radio, and they're going to the internet, and people are finding their own way. And so in 100 years, will the United States, as we know it, still exist? Final question.
Yes, it will. I want to. You pointed out something great on the international piece. There's are we going to align with people that have our values like we used to?
No.
Or are we going to align with people like you referenced, in which we have pure economic interest? Being it the people who killed Khashoggi in Saudi Arabia, are we going to pillage, the African states for whatever we can get, minerals, etc., Venezuela? It is a total mystery. So we will survive. Everything's going to look totally different, internationally, nationally.
Great call. Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. All right. 303-696-1971. Will we be here? Will this country survive? We now, at 2026, we're there, and the United States of America. And let me read from the wall and see what happens here. This has been an interesting morning. Talk radio, no man its master. I don't want Tina Peters to die alone, but MAGA's obsession with free Tina is pushing me to embrace a dark ending for her and her legacy. For the best outcome possible, people, please get off this free Tina train, but they won't. It makes me look like Jenna Griswold fan, but I hate her with some passion. Any contempt of Tina, you and Jimmy are making the calls. Okay. What happens in the rest of the country if New York City does not implode under the socialist and 70% of the people like his socialist policies? Yeah, I still think that he is now the face of the Democratic Party. It's not Newsom in California or anybody else, Joe Biden or Kamala Harris. The face of the Democratic Party is now the mayor of New York City. What happens in the rest of the country? That's another great question. Will America survive? And that goes on about a stolen election. There was no stolen election. I mean, it's sad that there are people out there that want to believe that, but there is no evidence. And all you have is this stuff in the atmosphere that people pull down. And, well, what about this? Look, if there was any legitimately court available, I mean, the idea that the judges kept this out is ridiculous. Here goes Rupert Murdoch into court, or his lawyers go into court against Dominion, and they have to throw in the cards. Why? Because they don't have the evidence. I don't know why they don't have everybody's evidence that talked about on talk radio. Why don't they bring in some of those talk show hosts and say, Dinesh D'Souza, come in and take a stand. Boy, this is Ralph in the Springs. Ralph, you're on a radio show. Good morning. Thank you. It's Friday.
Yeah. Happy New Year, Peter.
Thank you, sir.
And I'm very happy to hear that Professor Smith has straightened you out on our 250 years.
Yes.
Okay, good. I hope you agree with him, because otherwise I'll yell at you, so I won't yell at you.
Thank you.
Good. Okay. Now, what you're asking about in terms of will we be here in the next 100 years is really the brand will be here, but the product will not. Go back and look at our history
that's a good line. Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm very serious. Go back and look at the history like Professor Smith was doing. Go back to the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. What was America then? How shall I say? Largely slave owning in all the colonies when the Constitution was adopted. You had the Civil War, and we changed. When we changed, Lincoln became as close to a unitary president as we had under the Constitution back then. Okay? After the Civil War, you had a stretch, and we hit the Depression. we were very much a capitalist country. You now say, well, New York City is run by a democratic socialist. Mm-hmm. Well, it's always been crony capitalism, certainly for my lifetime. But
wait,
with
stop.
Roosevelt,
I mean, stop, because crony capitalism is how Denver's operating. But what I'm saying to you is, these guys are, and again, good, bad, or indifferent, they're democratic socialists. They're saying, they're taking the power of the government and, quote, giving, but they have to take someplace else to give.
Peter, but remember, I was a tax lawyer. I got to retire when I was 50. Why? Because what I did, and I was very good at it, and it was very legal, was basically to allow those who have a lot of income not to pay taxes, while those who don't have a lot of income paid taxes. And that has gone worse and worse and worse. So what you end up, everybody is saying, well, look at the country. We have this where we have a lot of people at the bottom and very few people at the top. And the answer is yeah. Why? Because the best thing, if you were rich, to was a representative. If you're richer, you could buy a senator.
The Senate used to be known as the Millionaires Club because state legislators appointed senators. And how did the senator get the vote? Well, they greased the palm. And why wealthy? This is prior to having the Senate be an elected official or an elected representative.
Right.
But used to be able to buy the seat. I mean, the senators that came to the Senate were people who oftentimes bought their way into that seat. It's like getting a seat on the stock exchange. You buy your way. And boy, did they rip through it. Yeah.
Yeah, but you're asking, do we know who's running?
Yeah.
The answer is no.
Of course.
Because the people who are running are the ones who make the political huge campaign contributions to buy a representative or a senator.
To this day, absolutely.
Exactly.
And if I gave you, there's a great line. If you hire the band, you get to call the tune.
The tune, yeah.
And if I spend a lot of money on a band, and I'd say play this, and this. If you don't, well, and that's you're absolutely right. You're spot on. I've always oftentimes thought about public finance of elections.
I also represented financial institutions, and there's another one, Peter. Sure. He who has the gold makes the rules.
Sure, of course, gold rule, yeah.
Right. And so what is happening is you were asking where we're going to be in 100 years, and the answer is we are going to continue this progression where the United States brand continues to exist. But what's behind it, I mean, look at college football. Yeah. What's behind it is more and more going to be where the money is and who has it, and that's going to be the control. It isn't royalty. It's, how shall I say, crony capitalists.
All right.
And I will ask one question of you, and that is, consider college football these days. In the old days, you had a football team, and everybody was, all for one and one for all. Now you have a highly paid, shall we say, quarterback, and 10 schmoes who are going to block for him. And basically, he then can decide to go someplace else and take his money with him and leave the schmoes behind.
Yep.
Okay, there's a question there that basically it is now all about me and not about the team. And that's the problem with where the United States is going. More and more it's about me and less about the team.
I'll read you this. Well, USA is using very nice technique to last longer. They made the whole world America. Everybody acts, talks, dress, and listen to America music, rock, hip hop, rap, etc. In the way, if America falls, will group. I got to read this straight. In the way, if America fall, will in group no alone. I don't know. I travel everywhere. I saw people trying to be cool in the American way. Maybe that's the reason we will last longer. The problem is inside the country. Mental health isn't doing good, plus overweight problems of people. Interesting text.
Again, Peter, it's the brand that you're talking about, the brand of blue jeans, the brand of hip-hop culture.
Oh, that's what...
Okay, but where's the reality of the politics of those people like Tom Paine and Jefferson who put it all together?
It's certainly not what I'm watching now, but they're not... But that was Jefferson's call for revolution, you know? He said, you just...
And we have rejected it.
What was the blood, the tree of liberty that I'm trying to remember?
The tree of liberty needs to be watered every generation with blood. But that requires there be a team to do it. Now that it's individual, you go. I mean, look at what's happening.
Oh yeah.
All of the recent wars have been rich men sending sons and daughters of poor schmucks to get killed. That wasn't how our revolution was fought.
Here's one. I don't know if the United States as we know it will exist in 200 years into the future. It's been 246 years since the signing of the Declaration of Independence, 1776. Wow. God knows which civilization. There's another one, beginning with God knows. Both of them did. God knows which civilization will rise and become powerful, and which civilization will fall and die off for life. All I can say is empires, superpowers, civilizations, and countries, tribes, groups, and races. That's really good stuff. I mean, there's some smart people out there. So,
let me give you one book to read. And
right.
I don't have the title, but it's by Ray Dalio, D-A-L-I-O. And he is a billionaire head of former Bridgewater Associates. He basically he hired professors and a bunch of other people to look at empires. And in his 2020 book, he has 3 separate points about empires. And he goes to the Chinese, the Dutch, and the British, and then at ours. And they all collapse because of economic reasons.
That's what the historians say. They go, look, it isn't going to come apart because of the culture that everybody... It's power and poverty.
Culture changes. Culture changes.
Oh. And the same people. Are the same people still always in power? Serious question.
I would say yes, but you have to remember, think about the Roman emperors, Hadrian or...
Nero, Hadrian.
No, I'm going to Marcus Aurelius to Trajan.
Oh, that's way before.
It's his it's his adopted son.
Yes.
And that's the thing, that we don't seem to be capable of producing heirs as smart as we are, so we have to either give them a lot of money, send them away, and adopt somebody to take over the real reins of power.
Well, that was when we were talking about role of government, and it's absurd and almost laughable to believe that God loved people. God loved George more than he loved you, and better yet, that God's divinity flowed through his blood into the blood of his son, and we're watching it right now. You know, with Chuck, and you know he's now the king, and his mom was the queen. Her blood into him and Uncle Phil, and they made the monarch through just a blood transfer, and the same thing onto his son William, Bill. And Bill's blood on that little kid will make him the king. And to me, it's like, I mean, the Irish have that definitely bad view of the British monarchy, but think
no
about
kidding.
Yeah. But think about the divine right of kings, and it starts out. I mean, it's been a lengthy problem in Europe, and thankfully George Washington didn't bring it here, but it's there, and so. I rest my case. We got a break showing up. Thank you, sir. 303 696-1971. There's a lot of anger, and I wasn't expecting this on a second day of the new year. 303-696-1971. Join us. The country's 250 years old. Will we last? And apparently it's like running over somebody's dog in the driveway. I mean, it's like, will the United States of America exist in 100 years? What's wrong with the question? Tell me what the question's wrong. You can tell me even that as well. Great looking day headed our way. Coming up, Terry the Tramp. And this is my partner, Randall Ball. His name is Keith Ball. And he is the bandit, the life and times of a dangerous one percenter. People talk about 1% motorcycle clubs. This is Terry the Tramp. 710 KNUS, we are Denver Stock Station.
Your KNUS forecast for the Denver metro area calls for still partly to mostly cloudy skies this Friday. A little bit of some lingering snow shower activity yet to our west in the high foothills and mountains, but we look to stay dry here across the metro area. Temperatures near 60 today, mid-30s tonight, low to mid-60s for highs this weekend. Partly to mostly sunny, dry here across lower elevations with nighttime lows mid and upper 30s. I'm meteorologist Mark Huer on 710 KNUS.
Yep. Peter Boyle's in for the fellas back on Monday. We're here tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. Coming up, Terry the Tramp, the life and dangerous times of a one percenter. Nice weather. Let's go. Let me read the wall, and then we'll go to the phones. America will survive if Manhattan Jesus rejects all the immigrants. This one. I don't believe Russia or China are our worst enemies. We are. We're going to implode. I don't think we're going to make it 25 years. We're at the beginning of the end. This one I read before. I think this one. What happens in the rest of the country if New York City does not implode? All right, we did that one before. I apologize. We have a line open. This is Francis in Golden, Colorado. You're on the show, man. Good morning. Thank you.
Hey, Peter.
Hey.
Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Hey, I wanted to, I think that all I have to do is look back the last 30 years and know that whatever happens in 100 years, it's going to look completely different than what it does now, because 30 years ago, I didn't have on my bingo card that we'd all have basically a computer in our pocket with instant access to anything. And I was going to say instant access to news, but the problem is most of what we get off of our cell phones isn't news. It's a bunch of baloney. But regardless, so I know it's going to look a heck of a lot different. I don't know what that recipe is going to bake, but I know it's going to bake. The thing that I think is going to cause a lot of problems if the United States does not exist in 100 years or looks completely different
will it?
Is our educational background, our education system.
Can I do the yes or no, and then
Absolutely.
You can
Please. I'm blabbering.
No, please. Yes or no? Are we here in 100 years?
Well, you and I won't be.
No,
but
I know.
think as a nation, you and I as a nation,
yeah, be lucky.
Right. It'll be like Futurama. We'll have those little heads in jars. We'll just be talking to each other, Peter.
Remember that? 25. It was Zagger and Evans, that old disc jockey.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that god-awful song.
Oh, that was horrible.
Oh, yeah. That was a terrible song. But no, I mean, I think as a nation, some iteration will exist in 100 years. I don't know what it'll look like. I think there will be probably 2 different nations or 3 or 4 different nations that have balkanized into different iterations of the United States. I'm using that in quotes there, but so that's my yes answer, but with qualifications. It's not much of a good answer, but I think that's what it will look like.
Well, final one. So
yeah, please.
If the U.S. sustains its current political order, will we be this republic that votes ourselves in and out of office in 100 years, or will it be looking different than that?
Boy, I think that it's going to look different than that, and here's why. I think a lot of the technology and I think a lot of the education stuff, it lends itself to authoritarianism.
Yep.
And which certainly does not lend itself to any sort of democratic republic. And so that's a problem. That's a big-ass problem.
Fair enough. Happy New Year.
I know, Pete.
Thank you, Bubba. Thanks. I want to do this. I think this is one of my... Is this Bill Vickery? I've been told that. Is this Mr. Vickery?
Yes, it is.
For people who don't know, this may be the finest motorcycle racer that came out of this whole kebab and owns Vickery Motorsports, and I wander in there and see motorcycles that I can't ride because they're too fast. Mr. Vickery, Happy New Year, man. Thank you.
Well, Happy New Year to you. Usually I'm to work before now, and I was driving to work this morning and heard you on the radio, and I thought, well, I haven't talked to you for a long time. Better say hi.
Yes. Now, I want to talk about you and your career as a racer. What haven't you raced? Because I think you've raced everything on motorcycles.
Almost. I never raced speedway bikes, but
okay.
I did all the other road race and motocross, flat track, enduro.
What year did you
speed record?
What year did you start?
I start racing 65 probably.
Where was the track and what was the race?
It was probably at Mountain View Drag Strip, which was up by Erie.
Wow.
And I had a drag bike, and I then I went down and to Vandermeer's and raced there, quite a bit once they got open. This was actually before they had their track.
I talked to John just before the weekend, so they're working on their new one. They're working on their new track.
Oh yeah.
What were you riding? What was the bike? What was the drag bike?
Well, the bike was something really unique. It was, and most people when I say it, they won't even know what I'm talking about. But it was a motor called a Turbinique.
Right.
And it was basically, it was made, I think, in New Jersey. It was more or less a rocket motor that's rocket thrust went to turn a turbine wheel. Wow. So it was actually wheel driven. And at that time, it was a motor that weighed 120 pounds and made 360 horsepower.
What was the speed when you went through the traps? What was your time?
The best speed that one had was 144. That was in 1965 or 66. I was going to say
that's fast. Anybody that's gone that speed. And then did you flat track race?
Oh yeah.
Where did you flat track?
Oh, all over Colorado.
Yeah.
And a lot of the other state stuff. At that time, the Bold Ridge Runners had they had a TT track, and there was a flat track at Colorado National Speedway. We'd race on Friday nights. And Rains raced right down in Colorado Springs.
For the folks who don't know, you raced wearing the big left metal boot. Is that those guys?
Oh yeah, steel shoe. Yep.
Steel shoe. And was it? I've read that early on the board track racers, they didn't have brakes on the bikes. Is that true?
Oh yeah. When I started racing in flat track, there were no brakes allowed for in somewhere in the early or late 60s, they went to where you could have a rear brake. But right at first there was no brakes allowed.
You see, they kick those bikes loose and they drift the bikes on the dirt.
Yeah. The best way around was usually somewhat sideways.
Yeah, no, for real. I mean, it's. All right, did you hill climb? You did hill climbs.
Oh yeah. I won Pikes Peak hill climb twice.
They had a quote celebrity. I don't know how I fit into that, but we got to race Pikes Peak this 100 years ago, and when we got to the top, you had to stay. This is one of those, and there were people up there, Mr. Vickery, that had gone up the night before they shut down the mountain, and they were not.
Oh yeah.
And it got freezing cold up there at night, apparently. And they would take a couple, 3, 4 cases of Budweiser up there with them. And when they told us, when you get around, I think it was engineers or something, you start getting closer to the top, be careful. He said, it's like the dawn of the dead. He said, people were standing in the middle of the because it really is just a dirt all the way up to the top. And they'd be standing there. What did you race when you raced Pikes Peak?
Oh, I raced. I raced it in the summer race, and you have a July 4th race back then. It was always on July 4th. The summer race, I raced a Yamaha, and then the other time I went was a winter race, which was January 1st, and that's kind of everybody's what? Well, if you were a motorcycle racer, that's how you started your year. You went down and you waited all night because they keep you at the bottom until I think it was 6 in the morning. Then you got to go, and there were 2 races. One was to race up to the starting line in your van, and then the race we left from Glen Cove to go to the top.
And then you stayed. You got to stay when you get up there. You stay till it's over.
Right. Yeah, you had to stay till it was over. Yeah.
When the year that I got to race it, Al Unser Jr. won it, Little Al. Mm-hmm. And all the Unsers were there. I can see why they got to get themselves in trouble. That was a hell of a family. Did you ever be around those Unsers, Mr. Vickery?
No, not really. Didn't.
They were hardcore.
I'd heard lots of stories. Yeah, they're hardcore racers.
Oh, not only that, they celebrated. they had a good time. But no, the original Al Unser was there, the old man of the mountain. I shook his hand. I wanted to meet him. If half the stories are true, if half the stories are true. I'm making him a guest. Our guest is Bill Vickery, Vickery Motorsports, calling the show to say Happy New Year, and we're going to keep him for a second. And then what do you think in terms of? I'm really thinking about going and seeing it, the Isle of Man. What's your thoughts on that race?
Oh, that is the ultimate. When I was probably would have been in the late 60s or early 70s, I wanted to go race the Isle of Man so bad because it was really the premier race.
Oh.
And most dangerous race in the world. And
yes.
I even had lined up a guy at one time I didn't have a bike that was capable of racing that, and he had two and was all set up to go, and then I don't know what went on. Something happened at any rate, and it didn't materialize. But yeah,
let's go.
For the longest time, that was kind of king of the hill. That was
let's go see it.
The ultimate.
I mean, no, seriously. I mean, it's the TT is what it's called, but it's a tourist trophy, and they took it. They took it. It's so. I've been reading about it. It was so dangerous that the racing association, they took it off. They will not allow people to race
right,
it.
Yeah. It's not part of the federation. I think that the world motorcycle is called FIM, Federation International Motorcycle, and I don't think they even sanction it anymore.
No.
I'd have to. No, I could be wrong on that, but I don't think
it no longer counts. And it doesn't stop those people from coming, and it's all Welshmen and Irish guys and crazy Brits and everybody, and they lose a couple guys every year, but they still come back and do it.
Oh yeah, well that's it. It's in a lot of ways kind of like Pikes Peak. It's a long race.
Yes.
There's no way that you can really memorize it all well, and so and it's places where racetrack where you got runoff. If you look nowadays at the modern MotoGPs, the rules are they've got to have 100 miles of sand off the corners, and no barriers that can kill you, and the guys have airbag suits. So
yes,
the much safer than it ever was. But yeah, I'm sure the guys have got airbag suits, but yeah. I mean, they're going 150, 170 miles an hour right next to a wall with a corner on the outside, with a wall outside of the corner.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad I probably didn't get to go race it because falling down there is,
Mr. Vickery took me out on the track once, thousands of years ago, and if you have any idea how, like who you think you are, go get with those guys. I don't know if you remember this, Mr. Vickery, but I always tell the story. I get and he gives me a suit and helmets and everything. We're going out on the bike, and on two different bikes. I'm going to chase him, trying to follow him. And I said, "There's no mirrors." Do you remember that, Mr. Vickery? When I said, I look at him.
I think actually that was my son. I think that was Doug that did that with you. But yeah, I heard all about it.
I said, dude, because I'm going like, well, they said, "You don't need mirrors." I said, "What do you mean we don't need mirrors?" And they said, if you're in front, you don't need mirrors. If you're behind, you don't need mirrors. I mean, there was no mirror. There was a track bike. It was I think it was your bike. There was no mirrors. I'm going, wait a minute. Why aren't there mirrors, Mr. Vickery, on those bikes?
Well, if you're worried about who's behind you, you got a problem.
Tell me.
Racing mentality is a little different. You're worried about one thing, and that's winning the race. And if you, as I tell people, I never went to a race in my life thinking that I couldn't win, and I did.
Yep.
I went to a lot of them thinking I could win and did.
Yes.
But, it's a mentality thing. When I haven't raced for a long time, but you look back on it, and I still sponsor a lot of racers. In fact, I have most of my life through my business sponsored racing because I love it. But it's different. That's all I can say.
It is. I'm going to come see. I'm going to work today and tomorrow, and I rode yesterday, which was probably not real wise, but I got that that throat thing that says, man, you shouldn't have ridden yesterday. But coming up, it's Terry the Tramp, or Keith Ball, who's my partner, the Life and Dangerous Times of the One Percenters, 1% motorcycles, the guys, and Terry the Tramp. This Mr. Bill Vickery is one of the legends and one of the all-time really good guys, and he's been an influence in my life. And Happy New Year, and give the address for Victory Motorsports. Give it a plug.
Okay. We're at Parker Road in Isla, southeast Denver.
Close to
here.
here.
They're selling motorcycles.
Selling motorcycles.
Yep.
You're the best. Mr. Vickery, thank you. And you talk about a guy that has a wife that she deserves the Medal of Honor.
I'm the luckiest guy in the world.
You say that all the time.
You know,
that's wonderful.
You know, when you go racing and it's dangerous, and in a marriage, wife's got to be number one.
Yeah.
My wife is so great.
Oh.
She's on race day, race is number one. The rest of the time I am.
It's all true. You have said that to me as long as I've known you. And,
yeah.
and Ben, you know what? And
yeah.
Bandamir says the same thing. Bandamir always says the same thing.
Oh, John's the greatest guy. He's one of my great friends.
Indeed. But you know what we need to do? We needed to do it. I'll tell you what. We're going to do a show with you and John Bandamir in studio. We'll do it on the Saturday show in a couple of weeks. That would take about 3.
Okay.
All right. Well, you do the show with me? You promise you come into the studio and do the show?
Yeah, I can probably make it happen. We're still working. I'm still working. So.
I know, but we'll get Bandamir. All right.
Okay.
Happy New Year, Mr.
Sounds
Vickery.
good.
Thank you, sir.
Happy New Year to you too.
Thank
sure
you, sir.
enough.
All right. That's. They took me out on the track, Peter. No mirrors. 710 KNUS. I'm Peter Boyles. Hold on. What time it is? All right. We'll get some calls. 8:49, 11 before the hour. And then Terry the Tramp saying, "Hang on, 7." And I'm back here tomorrow morning at 9. 710 KNUS. Peter Boyle's on the air for the fellows on a Friday, coming up in less than a minute. The book is Terry the Tramp, and Keith Ball will be with us, The Life and Dangerous Times of a One Percenter. Why do 1% motorcycle clubs that are out there, and people always question, why are they there? Hang on. Terry the Tramp and my friend Keith were coming up in the other side. We close to time here now to pull the pin. Boy, we still have a lot of email or text messaging on the topic, and maybe we can sneak them in. But this one, after Mr. Vickery was with us, the real name of it is the Island of Dead Men instead of the Isle of Man. We ready? We'll do it? Almost. I'm watching up and down heads. I don't want to start something that we can't finish. On the other side, Terry the Tramp, Keith Ball, my partner with us. Stay here, 710 KNUS. We got it.